Hey everybody, so I just wanted to do a quick video here on Micheal Haley getting picked up on waivers by the San Jose Sharks because normally I don't talk a lot about, I don't do waiver transactions, I don't give them their own video because they're usually really minor and they happen all the time. It's usually guys going up and down to the AHL or NHL. It's not a big deal. But I want to talk about Haley because Haley was on my list of depth players that I thought could be traded at the deadline. And I think it's interesting that shortly after I did that, Florida did not trade him, but they ended up waiving him. So obviously he was done in Florida. He's in the final year of his contract. Given the type of player that he is and his age, he's over 30 now. His time in the NHL is probably about done. But he was still a guy that I saw potential value mostly in the Western Conference, as I said in that video, which is much tougher than the East, as a depth fourth line guy who could be a healthy scratch on most occasions, but give you that guy, that fighter in your back pocket that you could potentially pull out if you needed artillery against a certain team, or against in a playoff series that's getting particularly physical, and mostly in the Western Conference. I thought that he could be a guy that could add value. So while I think a lot of people are kind of surprised that a good team as good as San Jose would quote unquote waste their time with a guy like Micheal Haley, who's even a borderline NHLer at this point, I'm not surprised that San Jose went out and picked up Haley on waivers. I thought he could potentially get traded, but even better to get him for free. And San Jose did just that. They didn't have to give anything up. They just picked him up off the waiver wire because Florida got rid of him. And this is a no-risk move. Listen, Micheal Haley is a guy who's making, somewhat, I don't know his cap number off the top of my head. It's got to be near the veteran minimum. So he's not a problem money-wise or cap-wise for any team because he makes almost nothing. Certainly doesn't make almost nothing. He makes six figures. But compared to, league standards, he doesn't make a whole lot. It's not like he's going to cause salary cap problems. And he's a guy that you don't have to play every night, or even you won't play every night. However, it's nice to have somebody like this in your back pocket in case you need it. And out in the Western Conference, especially headed into the playoffs, you might need it. I've talked so much over the last week or so about Nashville adding Cody McLeod, and there's a big reason that they did that. Nashville is tough. Winnipeg is tough. Calgary is tough. St. Louis is tough. There are a lot of tough teams in the playoff picture out west. Vegas has Ryan Reeves and Derek Englund. There are a lot of tough teams in the playoff picture out west. And San Jose is having a great season. They're a fantastic hockey team. They're doing really, really well this year. And a lot of these newer NHL fans who are all about speed and skill and have no understanding of the importance of physicality or the importance of toughness in the game think that a guy like Micheal Haley is useless, but he's not. He's a guy that gives you somebody so that if you get in a playoff series against Calgary or against Winnipeg or against Nashville and things get heated and things get nasty, which they will, they always do in the NHL playoffs. Every year there is a playoff series that gets over the top nasty. And that it's not going to be any different this year. And who's to say San Jose won't be in one of those series? Who's to say there won't be multiple of those series? The playoffs are so much more physical and so much more emotional and just downright violent than the regular season. This is a move that I think is going to help San Jose a lot because he's not going to play every night. He's a guy you can healthy scratch to oblivion. He could never play a game in the playoffs if he doesn't need to. You could never play him once. If you have a nice, easy, soft road through the playoffs, you might never play him once, and that's fine because he's not expensive. He doesn't have to play. You have other players that can play on the fourth line, but he's great to have in case you need him. It's it's one of those situations where it's better to have somebody like this and not end up needing them than need them and not have them. It's a no-risk move for San Jose. And I think it's a great move by the Sharks because chances are they're going to be playing Vegas or Calgary at some point in the playoffs. Maybe they end up playing both of those teams, one in the first round, one in the second. Maybe they make it to the conference final and they end up playing Winnipeg or Nashville or St. Louis. You're going to need toughness, and maybe those series don't end up as tough as you would think, and then you scratch him, you healthy scratch him and play someone else. But at least you have him there on the roster in the press box, ready to go if you need him. So let's say things between San Jose and Calgary in the second round get really nasty. Garnet Hathaway is out there running around for Calgary. Matthew Tkachuk is stirring up all kinds of crap. Sam Bennett's dropped the gloves already in the series. Travis Hamonic is going after Evander Kane. Things are getting nasty and wild in the Western Conference in a playoff series. You insert Micheal Haley into that lineup, and that drastically changes things for the San Jose Sharks. San Jose is not a tough team. I mean, they have Barclay Goodrow, who will fight a little bit up front. He fought the other night. They have Brendan Dillon on the back end, who's a big kid and certainly capable of handling himself. But overall, they're not a tough team, and they're not a team that's overly physical or overly prone to dropping the gloves. You add Micheal Haley into that, and all of a sudden he gives you a legit tough guy on your fourth line. And all of a sudden, going after Evander Kane, going after Timo Meier, going after Tomas Hertl seems a whole lot less appealing, especially if you're a defenseman on the other team who doesn't want to get run through the glass by Haley or have to fight him and get your face punched in. So I think that this is a low, almost no risk, great move for San Jose to keep pace toughness-wise in the West heading into the playoffs, because they're going to need it, because the Western Conference is full of tough teams, much more so than the East. Out West, it's going to be a war in the Western Conference playoffs. I don't care what the matchups are or who gets in and who doesn't. It doesn't matter. Whoever gets in, whoever you play, it's going to be a war in the Western Conference this year. And everything just ramps up by 1,000 in the playoffs. The physicality, the intensity, the nastiness, the violence, everything ramps up in the playoffs. So it's never a bad deal to have a guy like this around, especially when you don't have to give up anything for him. So I think this is a great move for the San Jose Sharks, a really smart move, and a very low-risk move. And the West keeps getting tougher, and I think the playoffs out West are going to be a whole lot of fun to watch with all these guys in it. It's going to be really interesting to see who plays, how many games they play, but you know that as soon as something happens, as soon as that pot begins to boil and takes that turn towards boiling over, these guys are going to get into the lineup, and these guys are going to take care of their teammates, take care of their teams, and make sure that no one is taken advantage of. So that's just my thought on Micheal Haley getting picked up by San Jose. I think it's a great move, and a really smart move by the Sharks heading into the home stretch of the season, and then having that artillery in the press box ready if need be, if he's needed, come playoff time. So with that, like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. Also, if you'd like to further support the channel, the links to our merchandise store and Patreon page are down in the description. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.